Hello, you wonderful humans. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday, it's 7 o'clock. That means it's time for a Wednesday weekly workshop where you get to ask Drew anything. Hi, I'm Drew. I'm the owner here at 3D Wellness. I'm also one of the clinicians here, where I apply more than 16 years of clinical experience to your health challenges, so we can safely and naturally resolve whatever problem you've going on. Every Wednesday at 7 o'clock we go live, so you can chat in your questions, and you can get some answers. I have the incomparable Two Boots Lori LeClaire here with me.
And we are just a chat away. So send them our way.
Yeah, send us some questions. We're really glad you're here. If this is your first time here, a couple of things you should know. That guitar was just playing is named Indy. Okay, that's not actually as important. Here's the way these work. On YouTube right now, we are live streaming. You can chat in your questions. Two Boots right here will read off the question to me. I'll use the dry erase board that we lovingly refer to as Mr. Doodles to answer your questions. There's always stuff I want to cover with you. I'll go over that stuff right away, and I will stay here answering questions so long as questions are rolling into us. If you don't want to chat them in, call them in. Phone lines are live right now. To all my lovelies on Instagram, we are still trying to get up to that 1,000 follower mark. And we've had a bunch of people adding on in the last 2 weeks, which we really appreciate. In order to go live on Instagram again, now we have to have 1,000 followers. So please share these videos, tell people about us. It really helps us reach more people with this information that we want to share. Thank you. Mm-hmm. This week at 3D, couple of things we worked on here. First one, really big deal for me. Clumps of hair were coming out in the shower for a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. Way too young for that sort of thing to be happening. Started the supplement program, took about 5 weeks. And when they came in, this was just this week, they said, hey, ask us about bath time this week. I was like, yeah, what's going on? The 6-year-old, I believe, had 2 hairs come out in the brush, and the 10-year-old had no hairs come out in the brush. Over the moon. Because it used to be that they would be brushing, and the mom would look at the brush and be startled by the volume of hair that was in it. This stress, oh man. A new response to stress. We have no supplements here that take stress out of your life. If anybody tries to tell you there's a supplement that exists that removes stress from your life, it is a sham. It's fake. It's not real. Instead, what we're trying to do is improve the way your body responds or reacts to stress. This client came in and said, yep, still got stress, but I have this new response to it. It doesn't seem to get to me as much. It doesn't mess with me so much, which is just what we are after here. And they taught me something. They said, try saying blank is not a priority. So whatever it is they had to get done, it was work, it was yard work, it was whatever the task was. Let's say it was yard work. What they encouraged me to do, and I've started to do just this week, is say, yard work is not a priority. And then see how that feels. Because after you say that, if you immediately go, ooh, I disagree with that, turns out yard work is a priority. But if you say yard work is not a priority, and you don't get any funky feeling, yeah, yard work is not a priority. And you can do this with different things in your life. Going to visit my friends and being social is not a priority. I personally don't like how that feels when I say that. So obviously, to me, it is important to make being social a priority. Play around with that.
Okay. Nice.
And then this came up. We're going to talk about thyroid today. It happens very regularly that people come in and they bring us lab work. And the lab work usually has TSH on it. Sometimes it has T3, sometimes it has T4. There's other lab works on there. And these clients, no one is explaining to them what TSH is, what T4 is, what T3 is. And nobody is talking about things that directly influence the thyroid. They're just saying the thyroid is a problem, but they're not talking about the rest of the picture. So what I put up here, is it a thyroid problem or is it a hypothalamus problem? or is it a pituitary problem? Because both of those glands inside of our brain are really, really important to make sure that your thyroid can actually do what it is designed to do. So what I want to jump into right away this week is talking a little bit about thyroid lab work so that everybody can understand it better. All right. All right, first things first. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. It is made in the pituitary. It's one of the glands that is inside of your brain. In a lot of ways, it is the boss of the thyroid. When your pituitary makes thyroid stimulating hormone, it is sending a signal to your thyroid, hey, make some hormone. It is stimulating the thyroid to make hormone. If you just look at a TSH level, it is not telling you about your thyroid. TSH tells you about your pituitary. So if you go into your doctor and they draw blood work and they say, we checked your thyroid and all they checked was TSH, then they didn't actually check your thyroid. T4, made in the thyroid. All right, T4 is a hormone that is actually made in our thyroid, okay? It's supposed to be made after the pituitary sends some TSH, some thyroid stimulating hormone, down to the thyroid. Here's my favorite analogy for this. The pituitary gland is the parent calling up to their child, hey, clean your bedroom. The T4 level, if it's in range, then when the parent called up and said, clean your room, the kid did it right away. But what we see all the time, and my parents know what I'm talking about, is that it takes more than one call up to clean your room to actually get them to start cleaning your room. Or they start cleaning the room and they do a halfway job. And that's the relationship between TSH and T4. It's telling us how many times do you have to ask the thyroid to make hormone to get it to make the correct amount of hormone. How many times do you have to ask your kid to clean their room before they actually fully clean their room? And the next one to look at is T3. And this is made in the liver. And this one gets a little bit tricky for some people because it's T3, so it looks like a smaller number, but it is more potent than T4. When T4 is made in the thyroid, it starts to circulate in our body. When it gets to our liver will reduce it and kind of increase its potency and turn T4 into T3. The reason that we want to know the level of T3 is because T3 is more potent and more powerful. We want that to be circulating around. If our liver does a good job turning T4 into T3, then our thyroid doesn't have to make as much T4, because what we're doing is increasing quality over quantity. So it's common to see on blood work that they will measure TSH, T4, and T3. The reason I want to see all three of these things is because a lot of my clients make a good amount of TSH and not enough T4, which sets up their liver at a disadvantage to ever make enough T3. So they have thyroid symptoms because of their liver. And when I bring this up to people, it tends to make sense to them. And they go, why didn't my doctor tell me that this might be part of it? That is an outstanding question that I cannot answer. But what I can answer are questions for people about thyroid blood work. When you go into your doctor, you want to make sure you get at least these three things checked if they're looking at your thyroid. There's other fancier stuff that you can look at also. You can ask for free T4 and free T3. That tells us how much is actually available to be used. It's kind of like money in your checking account. How much of that do I have to keep for paying the bills, and how much can I go, buy new shoes with? And there's another thing, TPO, that tells us about any kind of autoimmune issue going on with the thyroid. In my experience, the most complete thyroid panel you can get on blood work is TSH, T4, T3, TPO, and free T4, free T3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 different things. When clients come back to me and they have all 6 of these markers, and I'm looking at their hair analysis, I feel like the roadmap is very clearly laid out for what we need to do to make sure that their thyroid is healthy, to make sure that it's fully functional. I forgot who I did this whole spiel for, but it'll come back to me.
Okay.
We just saw him this week.
All right. Well, you explained that very well. And all the years I've been learning about hormones and whatever, that was really, really easy to understand and made sense. So thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. That's what it is, such a big deal for people to just understand stuff.
Yeah.
Like the education part. Knowledge is power, as they say,
Yeah.
I wish that doctors were allotted more time to have the opportunity to explain this stuff.
Sure.
Like, I really don't hold most of the doctors accountable for this, because I know they are heavily scrutinized, to crank out how many people they see a day. Because I know there are a lot of doctors out there that would love to take the time to explain all this to people.
Yeah, I think it helps seeing it on Mr. Doodles too, just a visual.
Yep.
Or erase it. Oh, reverse T3.
Yeah, reverse T3. So that's another thyroid marker.
Yeah.
It also tells us about the way the body responds to thyroid hormone getting pumped out. I don't use it as often because what I'm working on, it usually isn't as much of a factor. Yeah, very good question. Yeah, if I have those 6 markers, it's like having X-ray vision into the thyroid, the liver, and the pituitary. All right, 2 boots. Do questions roll in?
Not rolling in here yet, but I do have a question that rolled in our email this afternoon from Laurel Z.
Awesome.
And she would like to know, what are your thoughts on ozone therapy for heavy metals?
Oh, okay. Let's talk about it. Ozone therapy. So the question was specific to heavy metals. All right, so a couple of things we need to understand. First, ozone is just 3 pieces of oxygen together. O3 is what that would look like if you were taking a chemistry class. The deal with ozone, it is very difficult for lungs to clear. And if you have ever been around a potent ozone generator, you absolutely know what I'm talking about, because it feels like your lungs are constricting. It feels like you are suffocating even though your airways are open. It is a terrible feeling. I strongly encourage you to avoid trying to breathe in a lot of ozone. Typically, when we're talking about ozone therapy for things like heavy metals, we're either talking about an oil blended with ozone, or what we're doing is we are taking blood out of the body, adding ozone to it, letting it dissipate, and then reintroducing it into the body. The idea here, if I'm understanding it correctly, is that ozone is a very potent form of oxygen, and it can actually help the body with fighting certain things that bother it, like metals, molds, that kind of thing. That the presence of that level of oxygen helps the body to handle different types of stressors. Cool. So oil plus O3, it is often used for dental issues. You can use it, you can like swish it in your mouth, you can use it to brush and then spit it out, that kind of thing. Mixing it with the blood and then reintroducing it to the system, that's been purported to help with a lot of different things. Here's my concern on the topic of heavy metals specific to ozone therapy. Where is the cleanup crew?
Mm-hmm.
Ozone of its own devices does not do anything for cleanup after the fact. You hear me talk about Spanish black radish all the time. I'll never stop talking about Spanish black radish. And we're going to have a new Instagram post tomorrow about somebody who was trying to sass me about my Spanish black radish video from yesterday. If you haven't seen it, please head over to Instagram, DDD Wellness. It's the post from yesterday. The 23rd was yesterday?
Yes, it was.
September 23rd. Look for that post. There'll be a new one about it tomorrow. I'm excited. Okay. With heavy metals, we got to make sure that we have something like a binder or something that is sulfur-based, like Spanish black radish, to help the body get that stuff all the way out. I imagine the ozone could help the body free up heavy metals, kind of detach them from the tissue so they could be mobile and then removed. But ozone doesn't do the removal part of it, just the freeing up part of it. So I'd want to see somebody on a binder or on a sulfur-based supplement like Spanish black radish to be confident in ozone really helping them, especially if it's the blood is getting mixed with ozone and then reintroduced to the body.
Mm-hmm.
The term I was taught in school is drainage. Another word for cleanup is drainage. Making sure whatever it is, whether it's immune challenges, metals, chemicals, that there is a clear path out of the body that is being supported so that irritant can leave without causing new trouble. All right, other questions?
Nothing rolling in, but I will
You're always good for one.
Put one out there for you. I am curious. How would you explain the difference between a registered dietitian and a clinical nutritionist?
Okay. A registered dietitian is somebody that is more likely to focus on quantity of calories instead of source and quality of calories. And I can give you an example from personal experience. I was working with a client who was losing a lot of weight because they were undergoing chemotherapy. And the registered dietitian kept encouraging them to eat a group of foods to get weight back on. But the foods they were recommending are foods that I would never recommend to somebody going through chemotherapy. Mm-hmm. Because in my experience, when your body is trying to win the fight against cancer, the last thing you should be eating is root beer floats and personal pan pizzas for breakfast. And the registered dietitian, this is not all RDs, mm-hmm. but this particular one was recommending, hey, your appetite is best in the morning. Great. Let's make that your biggest calorie day. Have a root beer float and have a personal pan pizza if that sounds good to you. That'll get you about 1,400 calories. Great. Now, the problem with those 1,400 calories so let's just do like a quick understanding just so we're on the same page here. Carbs, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories. Okay. Protein, same thing, 1 gram, 4 calories. And then fats, 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. Why do I want you to know that? Calories is just a word for energy potential, okay? When you take in calories, it tells you, here's how much energy, if everything goes right, you will get. Calories are a fuel source. Gasoline in your car, calories in your body. It's a fuel source. gram for gram, fat has more calories than protein or carbohydrates. That breakfast, that was about 1,400 calories. I want you to do some quick math at home, everybody, okay? There was only about 20 grams of protein, and there was only about 30 grams of fat inside of that breakfast. You guys ready to do some quick math with me? 4 times 20 equals 80 calories. 9 calories times 30 grams equals 270 calories. You add those two up, it takes you to 350. That means out of 1,400 calories, 350 were from protein and fat. That leaves 1,050 calories coming from carbohydrates. Divide 1,050 times 4 and you get 270 or 260. 260 grams of carbs is about 2.5 days worth of carbs for most people.
Wow.
And that was supposed to be just at breakfast. Now let's play devil's advocate. The RD was trying to get the person to gain weight, so a surplus of calories is needed to help gain weight. Absolutely. The big problem though, these carbs, the 250 some odd grams of carbs, was almost all from highly processed sugar and highly processed wheat flour. Those are not ideal sources. So I might not disagree with 1,400 calories in one meal if that's the only time of day an underweight person has an appetite. I will disagree all day using highly refined sugar and highly refined grains to get most of those calories. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big difference for me. When I'm recommending foods to people, I'm aware of the caloric content. I'm more aware of the nutritional content. For example, a Brazil nut pound for pound is a very calorie-rich food, but it's also an incredible source of 2 minerals that we lack in most modern foods, selenium and manganese. So I'm going to forego the caloric concern because I know that the benefit is in the mineral content of those Brazil nuts. That's my approach.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, that much carbs would feed cancer.
Oh yeah.
That much highly processed sugar and grain, I absolutely have concern that the cancer would be soaking that up, and then how much ground are we really gaining going through chemotherapy? I don't want to do 2 steps forward, 1 step back when it comes to cancer. I want to walk forward.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to kick its butt. Lots of Spanish black radish. I've worked with a bunch of people going through chemotherapy in my career.
Yeah.
It is an incredible undertaking for the human body to go through that. So it's really important that their nutrition is on point to help fuel their body to do all that incredible work.
Yeah. Wow. Mm.
I have a question.
Sure. We got butts and seats again this week, folks. So
Woohoo!
we love it.
Yes.
I didn't buy these chairs just to collect dust. Sorry, go ahead.
The streamer I'm watching is doing her and her friend is the Biggest Loser challenge.
Okay.
And she does mixed martial arts, and she's doing 1,000 to 1,200 calories, which is pretty low.
Pretty low.
She actually is having a second period in a month. That be from eating so many low carb, from someone who's super active to
It's a great
cutting
question.
down.
Yeah. So the question was, there's a person who online is doing a who can lose the most weight challenge. There's 2 of them participating. They're not heavy people. They're not obese or anything like that. And they've cut their calories down to 1,000 to 1,200 a day, which is pretty low for most people, especially if you're undertaking intense physical training day in and day out. And since she has started that, she is having 2 menstruations every month. That is a clear indicator for me that her body is really stressed out doing that lifestyle, doing the low caloric with the high intensity training. And her stress hormones are probably peaking and causing her body not to know what's going on in terms of her menstrual cycle and menstrual rhythm. Yeah. Whew. Wouldn't recommend that. Yeah, there's other ways. Yeah, that's bad. If you're training, if you're training and you're feeling like you're going to pass out or you're getting tunnel vision during training, something's wrong. Something needs to be changed. Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know if she's
brutal.
doing her MMA training right now, but still.
Yeah, still. Good question. Other questions?
Okay, I've got a fun trivia question if you're up for
geez.
that.
She does this to me sometimes, folks.
Well, Drew,
we
I've
have
known,
to ring the Drew doesn't know bell. Super.
I've known you for 13 and a half years, right? Since I started with a client. And I consider you a highly intelligent person.
Whew, that's your first mistake.
I do, as there's been, I can only count on one hand probably that I ask a lot of questions, right? That I actually was able to stump you, and you had to go and.
Okay, I think
I'll get back to you on that one.
I think you have selective memory because I think it was more than this many. But
all right, this is my trivia question. Do you have any idea, like with the winter months coming up, we typically are claiming we get more colds during the winter months. Do you know where the term cold, why we even call it a cold?
Why we call it a cold?
Yeah, when we get sick.
Man, that is a quality question. Well, the external temperature doesn't have anything to do with actually catching a cold.
True, but you're on the right track.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the symptoms though. Right, so I'm wondering if because the body temperature rises, so we feel relatively cold to our environment during that. If that's related.
Now you're going cold on this one.
I'm going cold? Okay. That's clever. No, then I don't know.
All right, I'll tell you what I found.
Okay.
The term cold is a result of the fact that people tend to catch more colds during winter.
Well, that's it?
Yes.
That's pretty boring.
Isn't that lame? And yet, okay, so we call it a cold.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is being in this business now is colds get a bad rap because oftentimes we'll have cold symptoms when we're detoxing, which is a positive.
Yeah.
But it mimics colds when we're actually sick with a virus or something.
Yeah.
But detoxing from some condition or something in us that needs to get out is also that's a good form of release.
And I want to talk about cold symptoms then.
Okay.
Yeah. Because often people are like, oh no, I got cold symptoms. All right, so I'm going to call it immune symptoms.
Okay.
Is brown one of the markers we swapped out last week?
I don't think so. I think
brown is looking super fresh.
Ooh, okay. Maybe it was then. Maybe.
Sure. It's all good.
I think it was.
All right. I never get sick. Hey, would you go grab that 4 foot by 6 foot red flag that I like to wave? So
what?
She's so sweet. She hopped up.
Oh, I was ready to go and serve, but nope.
Huge red flag. I never get sick. Huge red flag. Major red flag. Okay. Most of these symptoms indicate action. If you're one of those people, it's been 4 years since you had a cold. I don't even get the sniffles. I have serious concerns that all sorts of problems are sneaking past your defenses and getting into your body and messing with you. And they won't necessarily present symptoms right away. It can take years for symptoms to manifest with immune challenges. I never get sick. That's a problem. Because those symptoms, like a snotty nose or a cough, indicates that your body is aware that something is trying to invade it, and it has put up the defenses, mucus production, expelling it with a cough, that kind of stuff, to rid the body of the challenge. If there's none of those symptoms, I am concerned that there is no defense in place. Now the catch is symptoms should last 12 to 36 hours. Because what we want to see with symptoms is that, yes, the immune system inside of your body is taking action and it's getting the job done. That's what we want to see. When that stuff lingers and it is drawn out, that's a big problem. Our immune system is billions and billions of cells, wide variety of cells, It's an incredibly complex thing. It should be nourished and equipped to handle all sorts of challenges rapidly. And if it doesn't, that's an indicator that your immune system actually isn't doing so hot. So I'm not opposed to people getting immune symptoms so long as they are short-lived.
The more you detox, the less likely you are to get sick, though.
The more you detox, the less likely you are to get sick. I'm going to say it differently. I think I know what you're trying to say. The less junk in your body, the easier it is for you to be on the 12-hour end of the immune response spectrum. You should still get symptoms from things trying to invade you, because all day, every day, things are trying to invade you.
And I think that's why I brought this up, is because I'm one of those people that claim I never get sick anymore. But now I understand, like, I don't feel like I ever get sick, but I do have a lot of detoxing going on. And you're right, it typically only lasts for those 2-3 days at the most.
Right.
Get it out, and I'm healthier for it.
Yeah, it should be short-lived.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So back to your thing, because I see your eyes.
Well, like, I don't ever get sick, but I've been doing this for so long. I had other issues, but I don't get colds, I don't get flus.
Yeah, but I want to talk about symptoms, because in the time I've known you, you've been boogery, you've had coughs, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't feel like you feel like when you have a cold.
Bingo.
Right.
Because your immune system grabbed the reins and handled everything before it turned into a full-blown, woe is me, I need to be on the couch under a blankie.
It's a totally different process, I think.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Because it's a little cleanup instead of this big, oh, things got out of hand and now we got to corral it all back in.
Yeah.
It's more like the bacteria tries to take a hold, your immune system sends out the response. For a day, you have to go or blow your nose extra, and then you're good to go. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Not trying to split hairs.
Yeah,
good.
Suppose I could have brought up retracing as a segue to, that's another whole arena, isn't it?
Yeah, that is its own.
It's kind of similar with symptomatic, but.
Yeah, I'm thinking for 121 right out of the gate.
Okay.
I could start talking about retracing.
Got it.
So long as, like the thyroid thing came up because a client this week said, Drew, I'd love to hear a 10-minute spiel on lab work for thyroid. So I was like, oh, I'll do that on Wednesday.
Yeah, we've got Barb here, Barb C.
Great.
She has a question about, she's like, does T3, excuse me.
The reduced, more potent thyroid hormone.
Does T3 or T4 increase metabolism for weight loss? Is it prescribed?
Yeah, they both have the potential to increase your metabolism. T3 is a more potent metabolism enhancer. So that means that your liver has to work the right way with your thyroid in order for your metabolism to really be fully fired up.
And then her question about, is this prescribed?
Yeah, you can be prescribed those hormones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Synthetic ones.
Oh, yeah.
They're synthetic.
Thyroid or something. I think I'm butchering it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
We got stuff here that can serve that purpose. Yes,
yeah, we have a whole bunch of ideas here, not only supplements, but food strategies to enhance the production of T4 at the thyroid and support the conversion of it to T3 in the liver.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would want to look at. And then it's interesting when that starts going really well, clients who are taking prescription T4 and T3, they will start to report feeling like electricity was traveling through their skin. And it means they're getting too much synthetic hormone. Their body has begun to make its own hormone at a level, meaning they don't need as much prescription.
Oh, interesting.
What a wild feeling that must be.
Take extra and become superhuman?
Can I shoot lightning bolts out of my fingertips? Probably not.
Darn.
Right? Because then all of a sudden I kind of want the prescription.
Right.
Joking.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
GL1P, all the rage.
All the rage.
Is that created in the body, or is that created by your microbiome? Or is it created by a specific organ, or is it an orchestra of different organs?
Yeah, good question. The question was, GLP-1 is all the rage right now. There's all sorts of brand names for it. All sorts of people in Hollywood, you look at them and they look sickly thin. Yowza. Is it made in the body? Yes. What was the second part of the question?
I just said, is it made by like the microbiome, or is it made by like different certain organs or a bunch of organs?
Yeah,
involved in the process.
It's a concert of things because there's a cascade involved in it. Because part of what GLP-1 is going to do is it's going to slow gastric transit. So the way food moves through you, it's going to slow that down. And the idea with that is it keeps you satiated or satisfied by your food for longer. So right there, we know that the stomach, the pancreas, the gallbladder, the small intestines are all involved in that. And then the actual production of it, if I'm understanding correctly, is liver and brain. Yeah. I prefer the natural way to support GLP-1 production, which is a little protocol we put together here. We've got a client named Molly who's loving it right now because I'm thinking of her and another lady who are losing a ½ pound a week without changing anything else. And that's really healthy and really sustainable to just do a ½ pound a week.
Yep.
You're not going to have a nasty rebound, and your body can deal with that much detox of fat cells breaking down. It does involve berberine, but there's a couple of ways you can get berberine.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different plants that'll yield berberine to you, and then there's things that you should do.
Can you know the protocol?
Yeah, you can know the protocol. All right, twist my arm. Have I used red? Haven't used red. All right. All right, here we go. So, if you want to support the way that your body naturally makes GLP-1, you're going to want to use something called berberine. There's a lot of brands out there. Is it berberine active?
Yeah.
From MediHerb? Thank you.
Big yellow pills.
Yeah, big yellow pills. They're made by MediHerb. MediHerb is one of the only brands on earth that makes herbs that I will trust. You want to use that. It's going to help the body with the production of GLP-1 naturally. Now, when that happens and we start to slow transit time, we got to make sure that we are taking care of the intersection between the stomach, small intestines, pancreas, and gallbladder. One of the best ways to do that is to use gut flora complex.
I was not expecting that.
It is also by MediHerb. Most people do not need this every day, though. I really want you to reach out to us if you're curious about this, and we'll figure out how many days a week you need to take this. The vast majority of people, it's not even close to every day. That is going to help with the slow transit time from the increase in the GLP-1. Now, here's some of the magic. Here's the second part of the magic. Yeah, most people are not expecting gut flora complex. Second part of the magic is using inositol. That's my standard process. The reason we want to use inositol, it looks a lot like the sugar molecule. So when we have this slowed transit time and our food is breaking down more slowly, it's very likely that we're going to start to get cravings for calories, which is different than like the hunger reflex. The inositol, one of the things it does is it gets pulled in by the pancreas so that it can, the pancreas often believes that it's a sugar molecule, but it's actually nutrient. It's a B vitamin. Inositol is a B vitamin. When we pull that into the pancreas, we support the functioning of the pancreas, which helps with insulin production and with enzyme production. So our body digests things even a little bit better when the pancreas is pulling in inositol. So we'll get some slow transit time because the increase in GLP-1. We're going to use gut flora complex to take care of the gut during that process. And then we're going to use inositol because that's also going to help the body with staying nice and stable, especially if our food intake decreases. I also want to look at their hair tissue analysis because their oxidation rate will have a very strong influence on what else needs to be done to support GLP-1 production. The oxidation rate on a hair analysis, for those who don't know, tells us how quickly your body turns food into fuel. And based on that speed, we will do other things to support the production of GLP-1. That answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool.
How do you feel about adding milk thistles to that protocol? Because the book recommends adding milk thistle to berberine nectar.
Sure. How do I feel about adding milk thistle to this protocol? I like milk thistle a lot, but everybody's already on Spanish black radish with me, and that's accomplishing a very similar thing.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remember that part.
Yeah.
The book, it says it helps you absorb more berberine.
Yeah, this is not the only berberine containing supplement out there, so there are other ones that we use sometimes, but it is by far the most potent. And it's potent because it's not just a lot of berberine, it's a lot of the plant that yields us the berberine with berberine. Yeah.
All right.
Good. Other questions rolling in?
No other questions.
No other questions. What
Nope.
time is it?
It is 7:42.
7:42. Okay. Did you have any other pressing questions, Two Boots?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, gang. There's no questions.
Ooh, we just got one in.
We just got one in. Breaking news story. 7:42 p.m. on Wednesday evening. 3D Wellness received a message on YouTube.
All right, let's see here. Get back
Sure.
here. Yeah. Hi, Drew. Okay, have you
Hi.
heard? This is from Alzara.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. Have you heard of the COVID spike protein staying in the body? Any recommendations other than the spike detox?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about it. All right, so when we are talking about COVID and the things related to it, like COVID lingering in your body for longer, the best way that I describe COVID to my clients is that it is sticky like Velcro in blood vessels. So just so we're clear, blood vessels are veins and arteries and capillaries. It's the way blood moves throughout your body. Okay. COVID is really good at sticking to those like Velcro. And I want you to keep in mind that inside of the average adult human body, there's about 100,000 miles of blood vessels. That's a lot. It's a lot of places where something sticky could hide away, because some of those blood vessels are incredibly small. One of my favorite things to do to clean that out, to detach the Velcro, so to speak, is the mineral phosphorus. Phosphorus, yeah, I spelled that right. It's really effective at helping the body clean that stuff out. We also want to make sure that we are doing things for liver support. Liver is one of the largest filters in the body, and when the body is trying to clean out the blood vessels, those things that get shook loose, when the Velcro detaches, those things are going to free float in the blood. They're going to pass through the liver, and we want the liver to be supported in such a way that it can grab that junk and send it to the bowel for removal. When I'm concerned about COVID sticking inside of a client's body long term, there's two supplements that I like to pair together. I've seen them work for the last 5 years really well. The first one is Circuplex by Standard Process. And the second one, it's this, what's the...
Spanish.
It's the... It's that country in Spain. Wait, Spain is a country. Don't they have radish there?
I think it's black.
That's right. It's Spanish black radish. Okay, here we go. Everybody was worried for a second. Like, is Drew having an event on his live stream? Circuplex, when you start it, the first bottle of Circuplex you take 6 a day for that whole bottle. And then second bottle and on, you do 3 a day. Spanish black radish, if you have concerns about COVID, you just start doing 3 a day, every day. A couple of things you need to understand about this. Circuplex contains phosphorus. It also contains a blend of B vitamins that are used by the liver. Spanish black radish is incredible liver support and also gives us a little bit of phosphorus. And the third part is that Circuplex contains ribonucleic acid. Don't worry, that's different than mRNA vaccines. That's a whole different thing. Ribonucleic acid in the body is something the body sends anywhere there was damage or stress to support the repair efforts. When we pull off that Velcro of that nasty little virus, it's very likely that some degree of repair will need to be done, and Circuplex contains a host of nutrients that help facilitate that while still cleaning out the blood vessels. So that's what I would do. I know there's a bunch of different spike detox protocols out there. This is the one that I've been working for 5 years, and it's been working. Cool. Really good question.
Yeah, nice.
Most supplement manufacturers do not make a ribonucleic acid containing supplement. That is just another way that standard process is really unique. They make them, they're just not as good.
Yeah, Darren Schmidt even says that. He's tried others and said standard process RNA is the best.
Yeah, the way that standard process makes their RNA is using bacteria to produce it, and they have some magical ratio because the stuff they make just really hits home runs. Yeah. Good. Other questions that rolled in? No? All right, you lovely humans. I'm going to strap Indy back on. I'm going to use my fancy little looper pedal to help play us out. Thank you for being here. The questions, the chats, the increased subscribership, it all means the world to us. I had a client ask today if our YouTube or Instagram are monetized. They are not monetized. We do not make money by making these videos. We support our community by making these videos.
Nice.
If I don't see you before next week, I want you to stay well. Can you do that for me? I feel like you can do that for me. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.